Again, thank you for the opportunity to conduct this workshop with you. My name is Dan Doolin. My role is Senior Solution Strategist here at Integrity Data. And today we're going to talk about how to effectively manage and pay employees using Dynamics 365 Business Central. And we talk a lot about managing the employee life cycle and things like that. So we're going to break it up into some pretty big pieces and show you how to perform all those tasks while interacting with Business Central on a Business Central platform. So let's talk through our agenda. Our agenda for today, oops, hang on, I have to hit one more button to share. Okay, there we go. All right, so now you should see it. That's important. Our agenda for today is to do a quick introduction. We're going to talk about Integrity Data HRP for Microsoft Dynamics, specifically Business Central today. We'll talk about the benefits of that functionality and what it means for you and your employees. We're going to obviously do an overview of those features that are available in today's workshop. And I'm going to try to save time to do a quick demonstration, at least show you some highlights and give you a feel for how the system works and all the different pieces. We'll talk a little bit about pricing just at a very high level and spend some time talking about our customer experience and how we manage our customers. And then we'll try to answer some questions also at the end. I think we'll probably have the questions go into the question aspect of Zoom, and then I'll look at those at the end and answer those. And if we run out of time, I'll answer them offline and we'll get answers back to you. Okay, the wrong way there. Right, so Integrity Data, we're based here in the United States, in the state of Illinois. We're not in the Chicagoland area. We're right in the center of the state of Illinois. We've been around for a long time. We've been a Microsoft partner since 1996. We've been working a lot with Dynamics GP. We've always worked in payroll and human resources. A lot of that work has been in Dynamics GP. And we started in Business Central about 3 years ago and released our payroll application into Business Central in May of 2019, so 2.5 years ago. So we've been working with Business Central for a long time. Obviously, there wasn't a payroll module within Business Central, so we wanted to make sure that there was for all of you so that you could manage and pay your employees directly within your ERP system. And so we'd work with Microsoft to make sure that there was not going to be a payroll module, and they were obviously pleased with us to have a payroll module within Business Central because of our experience within payroll within the Dynamics community. So we're a gold Microsoft partner. Like I said, we've been around for over 25 years, always focused on payroll and human resources, and obviously strong customer support. And I know that everybody says that, so, you know, it's not super fancy that it's on a slide, but I think the important thing there is that supporting customers that are processing payroll is different than just, supporting customers that are running GL, AP, and accounts receivable. And so, payroll support is different, and we're very experienced at it. And so that's why we're a little bit unique in that way. So let's talk about what we call Integrity Data HRP, which is really a whole suite of applications to help you manage and pay your employees within Dynamics 365 Business Central. And so the key components of this are managing your employee life cycle within one solution. So making sure that you've got everything all in one place. And like we said in the title of the introduction of the workshop today, it's everything from recruiting, hiring employees, paying them, compliance efforts, and then the exit process as employees leave. And so everything all in one place, all in one solution, all interacting with Business Central, all one one person or one organization to contact for support for everything related to human resources and payroll. It's built specifically for Microsoft Dynamics, data, processes, and people. All of those things are seamlessly integrated, no duplicate entry. You'll see there's obviously large components of the system is directly within Business Central, those that make sense. You don't want employees specifically or other than HR administrators, et cetera, within Business Central. So employees have a little bit different look and feel. And that all works very well for you and your employees. So nurture gives you the ability to nurture your people instead of endless administration. So rather than making sure that systems are in sync, rather than making sure that all the data is in the right place and that sort of thing, that's all taken care of for you. Now you can just focus on what's important as part of your role and your job within your organization. All right, so this is what we call the employee life cycle, as we've defined it, which is pretty standard. But at the top, you can see that you start with recruiting and HR. Everything begins for an employee within the applicant tracking process. How do you get job postings out there? How do you hire the right employees? That's number one key to being successful is having the right employees within your organization. How do you do that effectively when you're using Dynamics 365 Business Central? Getting those employees in and then taking care of them while they're your employees. How do employees enter their time? If you have employees that are required to enter their time because they're working on different projects, or you want to know what department or position they're working in, or what they're doing, or just when they're working, how do they enter their time so that you can pay them accurately? And the paying them accurately is very important to them from your perspective. I know that's important too, but also allocating those costs correctly, whether it's to a department, to a position, to a job, whatever that situation might be. Of course, the payroll piece of it ties in with that, as I just mentioned, paying them effectively, paying them within Business Central so that you're using the dimensions within Business Central, and all of your financial reporting is concise. Payroll is a financial function, and so we want that living within Business Central, which it does. Employee self-service gives employees access to key information, lets them view their pay history, see their time off balances, change their address, enroll in benefits, whatever the situation might be. They have access to that information. They can submit changes for those. Tax filing is something that we're doing here in the United States at the local level, the state level, and at the federal level. And so we have done some tax filing in Puerto Rico, which is sort of a U.S. entity. And so we've worked with Puerto Rico a little bit, and we've worked a little bit with the U.S. Virgin Islands, I believe. But a little beyond that, that tax filing piece gets a little bit different. We can do the tax calculations in a lot of areas, but the filing piece is obviously different. Compliance is mostly U.S. based as far as what we call the Affordable Care Act, into the U.S. government, federal government, and also just reporting from an HR point of view. There's a great reporting engine as part of the HR piece, so that it's you can run those reports and get that information necessary for HR-related compliance reports. All right, let's take a closer look at recruiting and HR. And what I've got on these slides are bullets and then screenshots, so that you can see what we're referring to. And then we'll see a few of those as we go through the demonstration. So the complete employee lifecycle management. So this is your HR dashboard for an HR administrator. So you can see where the employees are by the graphs. When they were hired, you can get access to employee information, go to the hiring mechanism if you need to put out a job posting or review applicants, set up benefit enrollment, review expense reports submitted online from employees, update company information like add a new department, add a new position, manage compensation, do anything like that. And then of course, reporting. Then at the bottom, as you log in and see the HR home screen, you also have this, I don't want to say dashboard, but it's all the reminders that you need, like, oh, hey, here's all the time off requests that are waiting for approval or that have just been approved. There's an employee that changed their W-4 here in the United States for taxation. And so that needs to be approved, and you can see that you can take action on that. Here's an upcoming performance review. And of course, any company announcements that you're deploying out to all employees log in, either in as HR administrators or as just employees logging into self-service. So as you can see, it's very easy to use, very graphical, gives you the key information, of course, and very easy to navigate. We'll see some more of this as we go through. Online applicant tracking is a very important piece. You know, here in the United States, we have a unique labor situation where employers are looking for a lot of employees, and there's a lot of job openings. And so it's a little bit of a competition for the employees that are out, or potential employees that are out there. And so having a great applicant tracking system is a differentiator for those employers as they're looking for the new employees. And being able to efficiently and effectively find those new employees that seem to be a little bit scarce at the moment is really an important process to have, to be very good at, so that you can find the right employees and get them onboarded into the organization. So the applicant tracking dashboard and applicant tracking components let you as the HR administrator get those job postings out there, even to external job boards, and find the right employees and screen them so that you can make sure that you're hiring the right employees. And it's all done electronically, and it's all done online, whether you or the applicant is at a computer or they're on a mobile device, or whatever the situation might be. Electronic employee onboarding. So once you've selected the right applicant and you hire them, the onboarding process is all electronic as well. And you can request that the employee sign forms and upload those as part of their onboarding process. No issues there. There's usually some of that has to happen, but a lot of it's done electronically. And so the dashboard lets you see where employees are in that process, where the new employees are in that process. And as that onboarding process gets completed from a human resources perspective, and that's approved, then that employee is automatically brought over into payroll, of course, for paying them. They can be set up on the time entry system as a time entry user. Of course, it can be given self-service access. And all that happens simultaneously. So it's very easy for you. It's not a long workflow of tasks that need to happen as far as that goes, those tasks go, but it all happens very quickly and very easily, so that the employee is ready to start working, they're ready to enter their time, and you're ready to pay them, and it's all seamless. Online performance reviews and management, employee certification, license, and training management. So making sure that employees have the right credentials for what they're doing, whether that's a driver's license, any type of certification that they need to have to perform their job. And of course, performance reviews, making sure that you're measuring those employees. And again, all electronic. You can always have supplemental forms to fill out. But again, the crux of the process and the management of the process is all done electronically through the centralized HR system. Organizational management and reporting. Of course, looking at the employees and seeing their lovely faces helps remind you of who they are, really brings the people aspect forward, especially, so many of us have worked remote for the last couple of years, or year and a half. And so, putting faces to names and things like that is always helpful and always brings a personal aspect to what it is that we're doing. Now, you'll notice on the HR side, it is a little bit different user interface than Business Central. And that's okay, because it is performing different tasks. It's separate from the financial system, but it's the people management side of the house where we're really managing the employees and making sure that we have everything in place for them. So this is the reporting aspect. So a list of a whole bunch of reports that come with the system. And of course, from an HR perspective, we're always creating lists of employees and certain criteria. We need those reports. We need that information. We need that data to make good decisions. There's a piece of this that is gives you, of course, the ability to create your own custom reports. And of course, you can send those out to Excel for further analysis and charts and graphs and fun stuff like that. And you can do all kinds of things with them. All right, time entry. A lot of key time entry features here. The dashboard, of course, the administrative dashboard gives you can decide if this is a payroll administrator that has access to the dashboard, or maybe a manager that might have access to their employees and see things like who's clocked in, who's not, who did not clock out, or who did not clock in based on the schedule. Who's getting close to overtime. And I know that this is a little bit small to read, but you can see that those employees are getting close to overtime because they've got, closer over 40 hours in that week already. And so this is all configured and designed based on how you need it, what information you need within your dashboard. And of course, most of them are obviously pre-built, and you just simply turn on the ones that you need to see. There's some employee scheduling. I call this mid-level scheduling. So you can do a lot of things with it. It's not going to be, I know that we have some customers that are on a very high end, like involved with professional sports and events and things like that, where the scheduling piece sometimes doesn't meet all of their needs. But for everybody else, every other organization, manufacturing, healthcare, those types of things, the scheduling piece would be very sufficient for them. Time and attendance detail tracking. And so when you look at this, the key here is that you can track all of the information that you need for an employee, whether it's defaulted for the employee or the employee needs to say, hey, I'm doing this, or I'm working over here, or I'm working on this project as they record their time. Tracking those details and having it come into Business Central to line up with the dimensions that we've configured within Business Central, or the projects that we've set up within Business Central, and interact with the project management side of Business Central to make sure that that cost is recorded accurately so that all of our financial reporting is correct. Now, employees can enter their time in a number of ways. They can enter it through a e-timesheet, which like we have here, and they can log in at a kiosk. They can log in through SelfService and punch their time. They can use an interactive voice response system, so call in and record their time that way, or of course on a mobile device using the mobile app associated with the time entry system. The geofencing component enables you to set boundaries on where certain employees can clock in and clock out based on where they should be working. So if they should be working at the manufacturing facility and you've given them the ability to log in or to clock in via mobile app, then they've got to be within a certain radius of that manufacturing facility to clock in. They can't clock in from home a half an hour before they start working. And then, so it lets you, so what that does is it lets you give them the flexibility with the proper controls and not having to worry about abuse of when employees clock in and clock out. Of course, you've got things like breaks and lunch breaks and all those types of things that happen as well that the system helps you maintain and enforce. Right, payroll within Business Central, and we'll show you some of this, but this is living and breathing within Business Central. And you may have seen this before. Like I said, we've had this piece of the solution out for 2.5 years. Multi-state payroll processing, project time tracking. Obviously, it's integrated with the general ledger, the payables ledger, the job journal. It's got a PTO journal for paid time off, and everything is already integrated for you within Business Central. And it works great with Power BI so that you've got your financial reports that are pulling payroll data that's right there within Business Central using Power BI, or you can use some of the other applications that are already integrated with payroll that we've worked with other ISVs on. So Solver, their BI 360, Plumline, Binary Stream Multi-Entity Manager, NetSmart for project management. Jernix is another time entry system that we've worked with for project management. And TangiCloud is a fund accounting piece for Business Central for not-for-profit or government agencies. So a lot related to payroll within Business Central. And here you can see the reason that I took this screenshot is that this is just hours detailed data. So it's tracking, shift differentials, what job the employee worked on. And so all that's captured as part of the payroll process and subsequently reported on. This is part of the GL, so general ledger entries. So as we've processed payroll for an employee, everything is updating in the general ledger as well. Now, it's also important to note, I'll mention it right here, is that if you're using Microsoft Dynamics GP, then all the features that we're talking about, except for the payroll piece, because payroll's in Dynamics GP, but all the other features that I mentioned as far as the applicant tracking, the onboarding, the HR, all of those are available for Microsoft Dynamics GP customers as well. So from a manager and employee self-service point of view, so this is the employee being able to log in, again, on their phone, any type of tablet. They can they can see their self-service dashboard, which is all of their reminders. They can even clock in. If they have pay history and some things like that, those will show up. They can perform employee updates. So change their address, add dependents, upload documents, sign and upload documents, enroll in benefits. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. Okay, so here's their pay history. So they can view their check information, gross pay, deductions, taxes, net pay, the check number, and click on the little document there for the PDF version of their pay stub, which comes from Business Central. They can submit time off requests for if they have an upcoming vacation or scheduled sick time, then they can submit those requests to their manager for approval. They can enroll in benefits. And this is a view of just kind of a quick view of what how that would render in a mobile application on a phone or a tablet or whatever that device might be. Payroll tax filing, again, this is mostly US centric, but essentially it's us as Integrity Data. Once you process payroll and submit the data to us, we take care of all the local, state, and federal tax filings each pay period as well as quarterly, and we can also do those at year end as well. So there's a lot that goes into that from a data validation point of view, data formatting, making sure that the reports are submitted in a timely manner, looking at the analysis, tracking the information, of course, working with you through support situations that come up related to tax filing. And the compliance effort is really US, again, I'll say US centric from an Affordable Care Act point of view, but also just from an HR reporting and compliance with a reporting engine from an HR perspective, then there's a lot that you can do as far as making sure that you're compliant with your local governments on employer reporting and that information that's necessary to report into those governments for compliance purposes. All right, let me jump over and do a couple quick demonstrations, and I'll just take about 10 minutes to do this. All right, so there's Business Central. We'll come back to that. All right, so here we are within human resources, and it might make me log in again. It's been a few minutes since I've been active here, and that's fine. But you saw the dashboard as we were looking at it in the screenshots. Well, this is kind of a live version So down below, we've got the announcements, company announcements to everybody. So currently I'm logged in as an HR manager. And so as an HR manager, obviously I need to do anything and everything related to the employees. So first of all, I might say, okay, there's nothing waiting for me. I've got an employee with an expiring certification coming up. There's some employees with some anniversaries and birthdays coming up in the next month or two. Pilar's birthday that would be in about a week or so. But no time off requests or anything like that I need to review or approve. That's good. So I see that information right away. I got the pretty charts and graphs as usual. And if I have multiple companies, I could switch over to another company as well. So I can manage multiple companies from one centralized platform, of course. If I need to get to an employee quickly, I can quickly navigate and get to that employee. And we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. So from a hiring perspective, I can click on hiring. Let's say that I want to post a job out there for a new job opening that we have. So I can go to job postings. So these are all of my job postings. And rather than you watch me type, which is an amazing thing to watch, just kidding. I'll go into one that we've already created. So you can see that this is active. So that is an open job posting, the date, the position, department, the title and description, if there's an associated requisition number. And then you see this application version. Now, application version is not a number, but an application version is really kind of the details of, okay, if we put this job posting out there, what information do we want from the applicant? Okay, so within the application version, so you might have like a version for sales, a version for accounting, a version for manufacturing, because you ask for different information from different types of applicants. So this application version lets you create multiple job postings related to sales without having to redo all of that every time. You can just use the sales application version. So within that application version, you've got things like, do I want to know work history for this applicant? Do I want the applicant to enter their compensation history? Do I want them to enter their education? I think I already said work history. What other things do we want to capture? What questions do we want to ask the applicant applying for a job in this particular area? And that detail's all handled in the application version. Again, that saves you time as you create the job postings. Do you want to include uploaded documents and emails? Yes or no? Do you want to tie a recruiter to this? So if you've got a manager within your organization, so say that you're hiring this sales account manager and you want the sales manager involved with the recruiting process or somebody else, then you could tie them to it and they'll be notified as things progress. Okay, so there's a specific key to each job posting. Do you want the job posting status to be on the public page feed? Yes or no? You'll notice that there's all of these yes or no buttons. It makes it very easy to use and to configure. The job posting link. So you can see that this is a link. So this might sit on your site, might be uploaded to Google Jobs or jobbing.com, these external job boards. You can also use a QR code. So think about all the different ways you can use a QR code. QR codes have become more popular again because of the no touch kind of things with COVID and things like that. I even saw a QR code on this is maybe a month ago, a QR code on a race car. So instead of advertising, they had the QR code on the race car. So of course I paused the TV and hit the QR code, the race car, and it took me to now. So while I'm telling this awesome story, if you want to hit that QR code with your phone, you can do so, and it will go to the job posting, and you can see it. And you can enter data if you want. I'll see it come into the applicant tracking dashboard. It might be kind of fun. You can see how the system works by doing so. So anyway, so I took a picture of I grab the QR code off of that race card. And it was basically like an e-commerce site for placing orders. It's really cool. I thought it was really unique advertising and really unique use of a QR code. But when you think about this from our perspectives, you could put it on a race car, I guess, for hiring the right employees. But you could also, if you're in retail, you could put on bags, you could put on receipts, you could put it on, on decals on the wall, if you have on posters, that kind of thing. So it really is a unique feature. And so if you follow the QR code, or if I click on this link, it's going to take me out to the job posting. And so as a potential applicant, I can see this job posting and I can start to fill in the information. So if I start to put in a name, I'm going to put in an email, and then I'm going to go ahead and create a new, begin a new job application. Okay, it's going to start taking me through the process. Now that email, what it did was it sent a link to this person that said, hey, you've applied, you want to apply for this job. So it takes them right into the application, but later if they want to come back and they want to do it later, they don't want to do it right now. They've got an email with a link in it that is unique to them that will bring them right back into this application. So you can see everything's electronic, walks them through the process and so on. I won't spend a lot of time here, but I just wanted to show that to you. So that's how you can get your job posting out there to potential applicants, and they can apply for that. It's very easy for them to do, which is what you want. Right, so let's go back, and from a applicant tracking point of view, so we've got the job posting out there. We might be getting some applicants. So let's go down and let's look at I can go to the applicant tracking dashboard. So I'm back as the HR manager. I can look at the applicant tracking dashboard. So here's that applicant that I just entered, Linda Jones. So I can see what Linda has entered. I've got some other applicants here. So Jim Bob is further along in the process. So I can look at him and see what he's done, see what he's entered. So you can see here, we're asking for employment history, which he hasn't entered yet. And there's some other questions out there. So on the questions, those are assigned at the application version, but you can have different types of questions. You can have required questions. You can have questions that if they answer, so you could have one that says, are you a generic, so I'm being very basic here. Are you a nice person? And if they say no, then they're automatically rejected, and the system will do that for you. So you can see that they've got some updated applicants, some uploaded files, I should say, et cetera. So the applicant will have the same view, and they can do the same thing as they're going through that. Okay, so again, all electronic. So let's go back. And so once the applicants have filled out their application, then we have to move them through the process. So we can change their status from application complete to scheduling interviews, and then it will start that process with us as the HR person or the manager to go in and say, okay, well, I want to schedule an interview. Okay, well, it's going to take me to a different screen and schedule interviews and invite other members of the organization to do those interviews, and also send an email to the to the applicant to say, hey, you have an interview scheduled on this date, and you could put in, the phone information and that kind of thing. So all the way down to make an offer. So again, everything's electronic. So when you make an offer to the employee, to the applicant, that's done electronically. The applicant gets an email that says, here's the offer, and you can format those however you would like. But then the applicant clicks on a link, and that brings them into the HR system where they either accept that offer that you've given them or they decline it. So again, a fully electronic, fully interactive, fully workflow enabled applicant tracking system. And then the onboarding system is much the same. So let's just say that the applicant accepts the offer. Then it's time for them to onboard. So this should be, that's the application. So this is onboarding. So this is done, this can be done by the employee, by the new employee, or by the HR person. So in this case, I clicked on an email to this applicant. And so the applicant that is becoming an employee can log in and start to enter their own information. So you can see they've entered their information. They hit save and continue. Okay, it takes them to the next level, which is asking for state taxes. And so this is all driven by onboarding tasks. So when you start the onboarding process, you say, hey, we're hiring this applicant. This is the onboarding task. So that onboarding task, again, might be unique to different types of employees. So for example, if you're hiring a delivery driver, part of the onboarding tasks would be for them to upload their driver's license. And so that you have a copy of their driver's license. And so that's all put in the onboarding task list, which again, make sure that you're capturing the right information efficiently and effectively from those new employees. Okay, so in this case, I'm asking for tax information here in the United States. Again, it's all electronic. It's all driven by the task. And then notice how the new employee can do this all themselves, all online, whatever device, and then they can continue through the process and keep going. So now what would happen is on the dashboard, we're going to go look at the onboarding dashboard and see where everybody's at in the onboarding process. So you can see here Mike Hall, who's the new employee that we were just looking at. He's partway through the process. And when that onboarding is complete, whether the new employee does it or whether we do it as HR people, then we have to approve that. The last step, there'll be an approved checkbox. We approve it. At that point, he becomes an employee in the system, and he becomes a obviously ready for payroll and ready for time entry if you're using that, and he's ready to go. So let me jump. I get a little long-winded here. Let me jump over to Dynamics 365 Business Central. And so you'll see those employees come through. Let's switch over and use an employee, Adam Barr. So Adam Barr is a new employee. And we're going to take a look at all of his information. Now you'll recognize that we're inside of Business Central at this point. And so all that information has come over from is interacting with the HR system. So we've got all of Adam Barr's information here now within payroll. He's ready to be paid. And so from a payroll perspective, we can go ahead and run the payroll process. So we've got some open payroll batches here. And all we really need to do is, let me just pick up a batch and walk through the payroll process, is go through and so the batch is built. So this is pulling in time entry. It's got the salaried employees in there. It's got all the information. So you can see over on the right side, we've got the batch summary. So we're processing payroll, how much is going to the direct deposit, how much going out in checks, employee contributions, employer contributions, 401k plans, PTO. It's got everything in there. So the actions are to go ahead and print the checks if necessary, email the check stubs to those employees who want to get it via email, or it can go to SelfService, create the ACH file for direct deposit, and then post. Obviously, when we're posting here, this is updating the general ledger within Business Central. It's updating accounts payable within Business Central, and so on. So everything is tied in directly with Business Central. All the dimensions are updated, all the posting is updated, and everything is complete and ready to go. So it is one complete interactive system that is, at the end of the day, obviously we want the financial aspect of the people, of managing and paying the people, to be within Business Central. And that's already done because it's all here within Business Central as far as the payroll process is concerned. So again, and I showed you the screenshot, which was the general ledger entries in the PowerPoint. So you can see the impact of the payroll within the GL, of course, which is important. That's probably the most important part. Okay, I think that's a quick overview of a very quick overview of payroll. Now, what we'll do is we're going to have some additional workshops as we go through the next few months and dive into more details into each of these areas and show you a lot more of the processes and what you need to do with it, as far as using those pieces of the HRP system to manage and pay employees within Business Central. And so, we'll dive more into the payroll details, et cetera. And we've got some detailed videos available on our website also, so be happy to show those to you. I want to continue through the life cycle. I want to show you one more piece in the time we have left, and that's employee self-service. So let me bring the other screen over. Okay, so here's Adam Barr as an employee logging into the system himself. Now, obviously, we're logged in on a browser here. Same experience on a phone. If Adam wanted to log in, he could view pay history. He doesn't have any PTO balances yet. Otherwise, he'd see those and be able to make requests for those or requests for time off. No documents to upload. He sees the announcement also. Doesn't have any licenses expiring. He does have an expiring certification coming up. Remember, we saw that on the HR dashboard also. So Adam sees that reminder as well and can take action on that. No upcoming training classes. Now, Adam can also go up and click on My HR and look at his compensation, look at his dependents, upload documents, look at his summary information. Okay, it's gonna make me log back in. That's fine. Obviously I haven't been active here for a little bit since I started the workshop. So I'll log back in. Okay, so Adam can look at his information, make sure it's all correct, who he reports to. He could change his picture. Okay. So I can continue his emergency contact information. You can also look at his classes, his education, his certificates. Okay, let's look at the certificate that's about to expire. Any company property reviews coming up, skills, and if he had those balances, he could look at those balances. Now, if there's an open enrollment window open, he would also see My Benefits and can enroll in those benefit options as well. So there's a lot that the employees can do from a self-service perspective and be able to log in and take care of some of those tasks yourself or themselves, and even save you from having to do that for the employees, but also have the appropriate approval processes behind each of these tasks as the employees make those requests. All right, let's go ahead and jump back to the PowerPoint and we will continue. All right, pricing structure. I think the biggest and probably the best takeaway is, if from a pricing perspective, it's just essentially a fee for a per employee per month fee based on the number of employees that are active in a particular month. So if you've got 300 employees that are active this month, that's how the subscription billing would be billed to you. If next month it's the less busy season for you and you have 200 employees, then the billing reflects that. And so it's a true subscription and what we call consumption-based model, where you're only getting charged for the number of active employees that are using the system. And so that's very easy to administer, very easy for you to know and understand where you're at and what you're being billed for. So our customer experience, we take very seriously. And this is really important in our subscription. Not that it's that much different than what we had for a long time, but in a subscription world, there's a little bit more focus on it because of the continued feedback loop to continue to provide new features, etc. So find the right subscription for you based on what you need, get you on board quickly and easily, and train you so that you have a pleasant experience with the system. We continued, I think this learn piece is the most important, where we continue like through workshops and webinars and newsletters that we provide, continue to provide information to our prospects and customers, and help you stay informed. Obviously support, then also gathering feedback and continuing to evolve the system into a much better system. The onboarding experience, how do we get started? If typical implementation is about 3 months, we have a sort of a regimented process for helping our customers come on board consistently. And implementations always have this not so fun aspect to them, and you can't completely eliminate that, but we try to plan it so much that you don't have surprises, that you don't have those painful moments, that you don't have those moments where you just say, golly, why did we do this? Because it's so much work in addition to your day job. We really try to plan it out and really do it effectively and efficiently so that it's a smooth, consistent process until your live date and thereafter. Okay, so notice our onboarding experience doesn't stop at go live. It continues and continues to, to evolve. All right, some testimonials, of course. What workshop or webinar would not be complete without some testimonials? And some pictures of some of our customers we've worked with. And some of these have been around for a long time, because most of them I've worked with or helped implement. Probably I see some on here that are been customers for over 10 years. Some, large companies, 15 probably. And we value and we long for and strive for long-term relationships with our customers. And we want you to want to have a long-term relationship with us as well, just from the perspective that we're doing that well and helping you through these human resources and payroll processes and efforts that you're doing.